I'm Christopher Smith, and I'm a lifelong martial artist. I love the martial arts. My first background is Bruce Lee's art, Jeet Kune Do. I was fortunate enough to get into that at a young age, and I've trained with several of his original students. And after all these years after 20 years of Jeet Kune Do, I'm fortunate or blessed to be a master instructor under Richard Bastillo. I spent a lot of time studying and researching boxing and Muay Thai. I love the striking arts. I have a black belt in Doce Pares Eskrima, which is a Filipino martial art. It's almost a complete martial art. They do everything, with the weapons, projectiles. They even have limited groundwork. It doesn't have the sophistication of Jiu-Jitsu or the savvy of Jiu-Jitsu, but there is. They do some. They're not ignorant to the ground. They're just not that good at it. And then I am a BJJ Black Belt, and I like to jump into anything. I've done some capoeira. I got my first belt in that. I'm not gonna Jenga. It doesn't look so good anymore. Done a little Tai Chi, and I love yoga. Love yoga. I started studying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I first got involved in Jeet Kune Do, and I had heard about these guys, these Brazilian guys, who had this challenge, and if you could take them down, if you could beat them on the ground, so I think it was supposed to be like $60,000 or something like that. It was the Gracies. The guy who I was training Jeet Kune Do with would come in and he's like, you gotta see this stuff. They're doing this stuff on the ground and they're doing this. So I'm like, let's check it out. We go to, it was Philadelphia. That was the first time I trained officially in a jiu-jitsu class that was taught by a Brazilian black belt. And I made the mistake of trying to go rough on Royler Gracie, and it was embarrassing. After that, I was hooked. I liked it because I was not good at it. I was not good at it at all. Then again, but no one was good at it when it first got exposed. I like striking. Striking has always made sense to me. You jab, you work behind your jab, you set them up, boom, hit them with a cross, crack them with an elbow, you've got your clinch. But jiu-jitsu is, and especially back then when no one did anything like that, and that's what got me into jiu-jitsu. I think the difference between the jiu-jitsu training and the other training, if it's Muay Thai, if it's Jeet Kune Do, the difference I notice is that, number one, with jiu-jitsu, it's kept simple and pretty much everything works. Not to say that in the other arts the things don't work. With jiu-jitsu, right away you get to try it against live resistance. The training is always progressive. It should be that way in some of the other arts, but sometimes the instructors just give you, here's some techniques and go. With jiu-jitsu, everything is about options. Everything in jiu-jitsu is about application. With striking, not so much all the time. Now, someone might be, no, he's wrong. Jiu-jitsu makes you think. Jiu-jitsu makes you think because you could get stuck and you're like, oh, I can't go anywhere. With striking, if I get stuck somewhere, it means that I'm just getting punched and that's it. The only option is you get knocked out. With jiu-jitsu, if I'm pinned, if I'm stuck, maybe if I shift my hip, maybe if I slide my arm under, wait a second, now I got space. And if I can get space, I can get out of this. If it's gi, there's so much creativity. They do stuff with the lapels now. They're doing stuff where they'll lassoing things this way. There's chokes are everywhere, arm bars are everywhere. With striking, it's just boom, boom. Yeah, you can do high volume combinations or you can do fast combinations, but it's still the same thing all the time. If I'm striking, if I hit first and hit harder, I'm probably going to win. With jiu-jitsu, just because I'm faster than the other guy doesn't mean anything. Just because I'm stronger, we know that doesn't mean anything. Jiu-jitsu's fun because you have to be smarter. So I think the biggest difference is that once you get past the basics in jiu-jitsu, you're now allowed to, and you're encouraged to have your own style, your own game. With striking, I have to be like, I got to get my jab working. I got to get my combinations going. I have to have good cardio. With jiu-jitsu, I can sit there and go, all right, this guy likes to play upside down. I got to do my best to not let him play upside down. This guy's a good passer. I'm not going to let him pass. I'm going to keep him here. That's what I think is the biggest difference. The best advice I could give to someone who has gone far in their art, who's mastered another art, or has a black belt in another style, if you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, you have to tap out. You have to tap out to your ego. You have to let it go and realize that being a white belt is the best part of it. I remember when I first started training jiu-jitsu regularly, I used to train with Celestiano. And I remember my first day wearing a gi, because when we used to do the Gracie seminars, we would just, no one had gis. We just all just go there. We had wrestling shoes on and stuff, and they would teach us stuff. But when I found out that there was jiu-jitsu in this town, and I met Celestiano, we're training, and I remember a white belt choked me out. And I'm like, come on. I've been rolling. I know this and that, rear naked choke. I know I'm in better shape. This white belt handled me. Now, he probably doesn't even train anymore. But he did. He handled me. So maybe tapping means that there's something that you're missing, that you should be concentrating on different aspects of your game. Maybe it's time to change your game and grow. But if you're so wrapped up in tapping or looking good or being the best, you're missing out. I tell the guys all the time that if you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, do jiu-jitsu. There's nothing wrong with working passing. I remember back in the day, we would pass for 20 minutes. I remember taking class with you a couple times, and it'd be like, oh, we've been passing for a long time. How else are you going to get good at it? How else do you get good at it? You want to get good at jiu-jitsu, you can't have anything. You have to learn to like it. You have to enjoy it. Because it's one of the most enjoyable martial arts. It's the only martial art that I found that makes you think all the time. And the more present you are, the more present in the situation, in that role, the better you'll do. You get distracted, that's how mistakes get made. That's how you get choked or armbarred. A lot of people, again, I can't say it enough. I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. I want to do jiu-jitsu. If you're doing jiu-jitsu, the rest will take care of itself. I've rolled with some really good guys, and I think sometimes in my competition career, my best jiu-jitsu, I actually didn't win. I've had 2 really good matches where I lost by referee decision. And would it have been nice to bring home the gold? Yes. But what I did that day on the mats was, I felt awesome. It was some of the best jiu-jitsu I've ever done. So I guess rounding it out, you just want to, if you want to go from another martial art and do jiu-jitsu and get good at jiu-jitsu, enjoy it. Don't get hung up on who you used to be. You can't be a master in another art is at a point now where he's finally learned to learn. So you should take that skill and apply it to jiu-jitsu. All the things that helped you get good at your first art, you should be using those things to get good at jiu-jitsu. But if you're trying to be the number one, the top, the best, it won't happen. And I noticed too that a lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are afraid. I don't know why, but they're afraid of jiu-jitsu. They're afraid to be exposed. They're afraid to tap to a girl. Who cares? That's a good martial art when a girl can beat a man. So now let's do that. We should be doing that. If a girl can beat a man, you should be studying that, you know? I think the best way to blend jiu-jitsu with your pre-existing art, if you have another art, if it's Kempo, if it's Muay Thai, Jeet Kune Do, you take the jiu-jitsu for what it is. And I would say that perhaps in the self-defense situation, you go and do your first art. And as soon as you reach the limits of that art, you've got that backup plan. You've got jiu-jitsu. Boom, you can take them down. I wouldn't look to submit anybody. I would probably, if it was me, I would look and use jiu-jitsu's position and control, and I'd play the kungas on their face. I would try to break something if I had to. I think that also, in a weird kind of way, the jiu-jitsu sometimes can give you an extra added advantage that you realize, just go home. Just go home. I don't like to sound arrogant, but I have told people what could happen to you, you don't want this to happen to you. It could be really bad for you. I've told people, I will put you on your back and I will keep you there and you will stay there until this is over. Jiu-jitsu gives you that. But if you only have one option, boom, 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 you're limited. If, say, you get into a situation, you shouldn't be fighting your friends or family, but sometimes friends and family fight more than anybody else. I can't strike an uncle with an elbow or a drunk cousin, but I could take him down and I could be like, stop. You have to think rationally about this now. You can do that. So you have to have it. You have to have it. You have to have jiu-jitsu. I studied the Filipino martial arts, and they love to do stuff with the weapons. And if I were to take a knife into my jiu-jitsu game, I would keep it hidden. You could really do some vicious, vicious damage with that. That's a combination of things that could just leave another human being like cut to shreds. Not a nice thought. And unfortunately, there would be a lot of blood, but you'd be safe. So jiu-jitsu is like the ultimate backup plan. It's a great ace in the hole. You now have the ability to, you can really control the situation. And if things go bad, because you have knowledge of jiu-jitsu, you could even get back up. It's not like if you get into a fight, you could, sometimes, it's not just some clown in a bar. It could be a good wrestler. Well, jiu-jitsu can give you the tools to fight that guy. Whereas before, if a karate practitioner, Kempo or Taekwondo got taken down, he's going to stay there. Jiu-jitsu gives you the tools to get to where you want to be in a fight.